Matt, why do you think Bitcoin is bouncing back given the continued regulatory drumbeat, the crackdown in China, now here in the UK, and, no answer essentially from the United States yet?
I think it's actually bouncing back because of that regulatory clarity. I think crypto investors realize that the path to a bigger crypto future lies through institutional adoption, and the pathway to institutional adoption lies through regulatory clarity. What we got with the Binance announcement in the UK and also in Ontario was a little bit more regulatory clarity. People think that regulation is bad for crypto. It's actually the single biggest driver of the bull market. More regulatory clarity means good things for crypto, and that's what we're seeing today.
Meantime, we saw huge volume over the weekend. I'm curious, who's trading crypto over the weekend? Why don't we see so much activity? I mean, I know it's trading 7 days a week, but the weekend in particular seems to be quite eventful.
Well, first, I think it's wonderful that crypto trades over the weekend. I think it's a strange anomaly that most capital markets shut down for the weekend. So it's that greater price discovery. It's a mix of retail traders, both in the US, UK, and internationally. A lot of Asian retail trading taking place on the weekend as well. It's a slightly different investor mix than you see during the week. You can see slightly more volatile movements on the weekend, but it's part and part of what crypto is. It's a global market. It's a 24/7, 365 market. And you can see a little bit more volatility and slightly different investor types on the weekend than you do during the week when institutional investors like Bitwise come into the market in a regular way. But it is part and parcel of what happens in this 24/7 market.
Now, on Friday, I spoke with MicroStrategy CEO Michael Saylor, who, of course, will ultimately own 1 in every 200 Bitcoin ever minted if he never sells. He doubled down. He's still bullish. He thinks the China crackdown is a huge mistake. We also saw Bitcoin move down about 1.5% during that interview. I want you to take a listen to what he had to say about China's so-called mistake. Take a listen.
We think the primary dynamic is the China exodus. There's a forced and there's a rushed exodus of capital and mining from China that was a bit of a surprise that kicked off in May. And that's driving the dynamic in the market right now.
Now, Matt, again, Bitcoin dropping 1.5% during that interview. Do you think his comments drove some of the trading that we saw over the weekend, some of the movement that we've seen over the last couple of days?
I think what he's talking about is what's driving this. Again, what's happening in crypto right now is you have some short-term negative news that leads to long-term positive results. China is a great example. China banning crypto mining, as Saylor was talking about, leads to short-term volatility because crypto miners in China may sell some of their holdings to deal with the economic uncertainty. There may be a short-term dip in hash rate, but long-term, the health of Bitcoin improves as the mining activity spreads around the world, as more of it comes to places like the United States, as we get less geographic concentration in China. I don't know if it was this explicit interview that led to that price decline. The market is relatively volatile on a moment-to-moment basis. But I think what he's pointing to is sort of the real story in crypto right now, which is news is driving short-term volatility, but almost all of that news, China banning mining, crackdowns on leverage, increased regulatory activity, all of that is driving long-term good things for the crypto market. All of it is contributing to what I think will be the next leg of the crypto bull market. Short-term negative, long-term positive.
Now, we're still waiting for the potential approval of a Bitcoin ETF by the SEC, but the longer we wait, folks that I've talked to are saying they don't think that's going to happen this year. Meantime, just today, Cathie Wood's ARK Invest filing to create a Bitcoin ETF of their own. What exactly does that mean?
Well, Cathie is a pioneer in many ways, and for good reasons. I think it's a sign that U.S. fund companies, Bitwise among them, but obviously Cathie and Van Eck and others, are confident that we will eventually get a Bitcoin ETF. We are closer than we've ever been before. There's still a few regulatory hurdles, but I think it is still a matter of when and not if. And Cathie is yet another indication that we're getting closer. Will it be this year? Will it be early next year? I don't know. But will we eventually have a Bitcoin ETF? I think absolutely, because we're seeing institutional capital moving into this space. We're seeing greater regulatory clarity, and those are exactly the developments we need. So I see this as a strong endorsement, a strong signal, and also a strong sign by Cathie of just how important Bitcoin is to sort of the disruptive technological future that she talks about.